Alright, so you are welcome to another Power Query workout with me. This is Biney speaking. So today what we have on the menu is we've got some dates that we want to sort of transform so that we could have it in a uniform kind of format throughout the data set. So if you check, you would see that the dates that we have are in different formats, and we want to sort of standardize the format for all the dates. Some are using hyphens, some are having the month before the day, some are using just numbers, some are using dots in there. Wow, it's a mess. So given this kind of data set, it will be kind of difficult to sort of go and attack it with one particular kind of procedure to get it. So we have to sort of look at the data there and then devise a way we can use to solve it. All right, let's get cleaning then. So to start with, I see that we have some invalid date here. Probably the person did not provide the date, and I can also see some null here. That kind of looks easy, so I will sort of like us to treat that one first so that we get rid of that kind of data in there. So we'll just come in here and then take out the nulls as well as the invalid date. Of course, depending on how you decide to handle this in a typical working scenario, if for instance the entire row for that particular area contains some vital data in other columns, you might want to only mark that place with a null or have a default date that you will assign to such cases. For this practical activity, I'm just taking off the null and then the invalid date so that I'm left with the ones that we can actually work with. Good. So with that done, we kind of have this step here that says filtered rows. The next thing I'm going to do is let's create a new column, and then with the new column we will attempt to convert all of them at once to a particular date structure and see what we are left with. I think that's what I'm going to do. So to do that, we add another step and we do table.add column, and then we open the parentheses there. This is the table we are working with. That's the previous one called filtered rows. So call this new date. That's the name that we are giving to the column that we intend to work with. Because this is just a one column table, we could decide to transform it by row, but I'm adding the column just so we can have the old date structure and then we'll have the new date structure, and then we'll see what happens from there. We will do each. I just want to make sure that we have it, so I'll just do this. Essentially, this is going to repeat what we have already. Okay, so let's see. You see it says record here, and basically the record is the column that we already had. If we don't want it as a record, I could just go there and then do this, specify the column. So the column is called dirty date. Alright, so that we have the dates showing. Now, like I said, we are going to attempt to convert them to dates. So what I would do is to attempt to do something. You do try date.from. So all that we are saying is it should try to convert what is in the dirty date column to a genuine date. If it does not, that's where we say otherwise. If it's unable to do that, what we want it to do is just probably for now we'll repeat the dirty date. Attempt to convert it to a valid date. If you're unable to, you give me what is already there. That's what this code here is for. So let's see what happens. Okay, I made a mistake here, so I should have put this in parentheses. Yeah, so it seems like we had success with most of them. So this here has been converted to a valid date. We got these. This wasn't. Why was that? Okay, so this one here, the locale that I am in, or where I'm in Ghana, we don't use this kind of date. So we've got the month coming first, we've got the day, and then the year. In Ghana, it is day, month, and year. That's probably what is set for my PC. And so if I am attempting to do this is going to rely on what I have. So what I need to do is explicitly tell it to do what I want it to do. So I think that's the issue with that one. Let's look at this one. We've got it as text. Okay, then over here it seems like either we got a month and then the year or something like that. Probably at this point we would have to decide on what we are going to use to replace it, so that one too will be taken care of. And over here you got double forward slashes. I think that is what is causing that not to be converted to a date. And this one too is mixing text and even has there, so October the 1st 2024, that's how the person stated the date. Okay, so we've got like 1 2 3 4 5 guys to deal with. All right, let's proceed. So to do this, we are going to have to sort of create several steps to take care of that within the code that has already been written. Okay, so I've already told it that it should try to convert to date, otherwise it should do this. Now with this, what we can do is we can let's call this, I don't like long names, so I'm going to do something like my date, my dt. So I'm going to let my dt be equal to the date that I already have in those columns and in my dt. So nothing should happen. Okay, essentially all I'm saying is similar to what already existed. So with each of them, try to get the date, the valid date from what we had already in the column dirty date. If it is not possible, then you give me what is already there. That's essentially what I have. So that's my date. I've assigned whatever is in each of this to this variable, my date. Okay, so I've done that. However, we would like to start, transforming what is there. So I'm going to still go with the variable, but this time let me do dtxt for my date text. Okay, so what I'm going to do is, okay, let's use some if statements. If, let's look through here, who should we tackle first? I think I'm going to deal with this guy here first, because looking through this, I think if I'm able to get rid of the double forward slashes, this should then be able to convert to a date, right? So let's deal with that. So what we are going to do is we are going to test for which of the values there contains the double slashes. Okay, so we're going to say if, let's say, text dot contains, and we are going to refer to essentially what text are you testing. So we are testing what is in the dirty date. So we've already assigned that to the variable my dt. So if my dt contains the double forward slash, okay, text dot contains, so we are testing it. Then we are saying that it should do text dot let's replace the double with what I'm replacing with. Essentially we want it to be only one forward slash in there, right? Good. Else we need to end that with an else. Let's put this here for now and see what happens. So we're going to change this to reflect the dtx. All that we are saying is, okay, so I think we got an error for that. It says text.replace. We are all right. So the fact is, what are we replacing? Okay, this is what we are replacing. Good. So once that is done, we can actually attempt to sort of convert that to a date, right? So we can then do the date dot from, wrap it around that. I have it there. Good. So this guy is now a date. So that solves that problem over there. The next one that we want to handle, or I think we should handle, let's see, because instead of this, let's do my dt so that we see the date. Okay, so I think we can handle this October the 1st 2024. Okay, so let's go for that. So essentially what I'm going to do is, essentially we are going to use similar logic. Okay, similar logic that we have here. Just going to make some slight changes. So text.contain, this time I want to look for a text that says there. Okay, because we have October the 1st. If we are able to take the off, then we can actually have that convert to a date. Okay, so if it contains that, what should happen? We should replace space there. Okay, let me just do there first. What are we replacing that with? We are replacing that with 1. Instead of saying the first, just put 1 there and possibly a comma, so that we can have October 1, 2024. Good. So once we've got that, let's see what happens. Okay, so if text, then do this, else my dt in. Okay, so we need to put else here. Remember we brought that down. So if text that contains this, do this else. Yeah, that solves it. So we got it fixed. The next one, we need to put another else here. Let's not forget about that. We don't want to have that problem again. And then we're going to put this here again. Who's going to go next? The next guy we're going to try to deal with will be, okay, since we have this in the view, November 3rd, 2023. So let's replace the RD. I think that should be the issue. The RD, let's take it off. So we just go like third. If it contains that, I want you to take that third and then make it a 3 in there, else give me whatever is there. Let's commit, and I think that also solves it. Good. The next one is going to be another if. Of course, if you had like hundreds of these, I'm not sure you're going to go through the data set one after the other like this. The more the reason why we are tempted to convert the initial data set so that we can have as much as possible dealt with before we handle the few that are left. So take that into consideration. Another issue we have, I think we are left with, okay. Let's take this off for now. We are left with 1, 2, yeah, just these 2. So now we will say if, let's put this there again. So after this, we have one that says the 1st, 20th, 2024. So what we are going to do is, let's see, we need to sort of find a way to get it to kind of rearrange itself. Okay, we need to rearrange it. And so I think there is, let's do the else, get our if. Okay, what we are going to do is try to separate them and then get the date. So for instance, let's try to find the one that ends with that, since we have the 2024-05- so that should tell us that we kind of have something that ends with that. I think I'm gonna add a 1 to that so that at least it gives us the first of that particular date. So let's tell it that if that is the case, then I'm going to use what is at the end and replace that, adding the 1 that is missing. So let me use something different. Let me do text before the delimiter. Now with the text before delimiter, we kind of will use the my dt. Which delimiter are we looking for? This one. At which occurrence, going to do 1. And since we are trying to add the 1 to the end, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to do this and 1 and do my else here as well. Let's see what happens. Date.from text before delimiter. Okay, so it seems like I made a mistake in the spelling. Text dot. And I think with that, the problem there is solved. So we are now kind of left with the last guy here. It's actually supposed to have been a date, but for some reason it is not, due to the kind of date culture that we are using. So what we are going to do is we are going to do a try on that. So essentially that is what is going to remain. And so we can say, let's bring this guy here and do try to do what? Date dot from text. Essentially what I'm doing is I'm trying to specify the date format that it should use. Okay, so try date dot from. So this is the date text. What format are we trying to use? So this allows you to specify the format. So I'm essentially going to say that I want the dates. Okay, let's follow what is there. So there's the month, then there's the day, Then there's the year, right? I have to put this in quotes, double quotes. Yeah, so essentially I've specified the structure that it should recognize. Okay, then the culture that is to be used will be EN GH. Of course, if your locale is different, you will not use GH. So you should do this. Let's close that up. Otherwise, I want it to return my DT. I hope that's right. Good. So we have converted all the dates successfully to a proper date format. So from the dirty date, we now have the new dates properly converted. That is awesome. So let's call our steps, let's call this step proper dates. Yeah, that's what I could come up with, proper dates. Okay, so essentially we've been able to convert all the dates to proper dates, and I think the job is done. The only thing that is left is for us to specify that this is a date. Good. I think I'm gonna get rid of this one. Now we move from this. Now we have this. Thank you very much for joining me, and see you on the next video. Bye.